Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough. But getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen versus everybody.
What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
In on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
The new style.
Every time we do the intro, you act like it's the first time you ever heard it.
Because the Beastie Boys are so dope.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We're going to be what they want.
Happy Friday, everybody. Finishing up the week strong here on Jalen and Jacoby. We've got some fantasy advice from Jalen Rose. We figured we would use our fantasy guru. Not only did he win our Jalen and Jacoby Fantasy League last year, but he's also in a league that he pays how much money for?
Couple of dollars.
More money than most of us have in our bank account. Let's just say that. So, Jalen, you know when you've got that much money at stake that you do your research. We're going to hit you with that. We're going to catch you up on the latest with Jalen Ramsey, Dwayne Wade, cultural and regional, and much more. But we always got to give people what they want with the podcast exclusives. And really, we just want to listen to some voicemails. We want to hear from you. Call 985-80-JALEN. Hit us with some voicemails. We'll put you on the show just like this.
Yo, what's up, Jalen and Jacoby? This your boy, Tim, calling from Columbia, South Carolina. First of all, shout out Reg. Boss move or soft move? Man, I'm in South Carolina. Hurricane Florence is coming, Jalen and Jacoby. Like, whoa. What I do is I'm a constructor and I put shelves into new homes here in South Carolina. And I go to Georgia and I go to North Carolina. And basically the storm's supposed to be here tomorrow. And my boss still wants us to come to work. And my girl's like, man, don't go to work. You can sue them. It's a natural disaster. Should I go to work in this storm, guys? Or should I just stick to my guns, and if they try to fire me, because it's supposed to be a recommendation of fire, meaning they're not going to fire us, but it's a possible chance. What should I do, guys? Keep getting those checks. Shout out to South Carolina Gamecocks. Shout out to the Rams. Shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James.
Tim, thank you for the call.
Shout out.
We appreciate the love and support. Sending all of our thoughts and our well wishes to everybody in the Carolinas. I hear the storm is possibly going to have some effect on the East Coast as well. Just wishing everybody to stay safe and take care of themselves and their loved ones. To answer your question directly, I'm just going to be frank. Don't get fired.
You got to go to work. Boss said go to work.
If you've been listening to this program for the last 8 years, one of our mottos is don't get fired.
Don't get fired.
And you know how you get fired? Not showing up at work when the weather's bad. Guess where we are right now? In New York City. I'm from Michigan. The weather actually gets bad multiple months a year.
Here's the thing. If your boss gets in his car and he drives to the site, you got to get in your car and drive to the site too.
No.
Yes.
Reg is wrong. Jacoby is wrong.
Yes.
No. Don't worry about others. Don't worry about what your boss does, because your boss may or may not be there.
Listen,
don't worry about what your coworkers
do. If he or she decides to get in the car, go to work, then you got to get in the car, go to work. If he or she decides that it's too much and stays home, then you stay home. Follow their lead.
And also, here's the other thing I want to say. Can you get another job that's going to pay you more?
Well, that's another conversation for that time.
Correct. But that's what you have to consider. If you're going to consider not going because they may fire you, you have to still consider how you're going to pay your light bill, gas bill, phone bill, your taxes, and your bills.
I want to hear about these shelves. What kind of shelves are we talking? What type of wood are we using? Do you put shelves inside of a cabinet? You putting shelves on the wall for books? Is shelves exclusive? Exclusive shelves? You don't build walls, you just do shelves? Do you do cabinetry? Is it all woodwork?
Don't get fired, and don't listen to Jacoby. Don't gauge you showing up at work based on what your boss do. Don't do that.
That's definitely what I do. If my boss shows up at 11, I'm there at 10:59.
Don't gauge what your coworkers do. Their situation is different from yours. That's the number one mistake adults make. They focus on everybody.
Don't listen to Jalen.
Except themselves.
Don't listen to Jalen.
Don't get fired. Now, if you can't make it, here's what you do. You pull out your cell phone and you video how bad the weather is.
Oh, there you go.
Of you in your car, but don't leave your block.
Yeah.
You make it look like you made an effort to go.
Yes.
You show the footage of how bad the weather is, and you also show it on the television acknowledging that it's not going to change. So therefore, if and when they fire you, you now have an HR claim.
Shout to the beautiful shelves that this man makes in Columbia, South Carolina, and all over the Carolinas and Georgia. Some great shelves. Let's give the people what they want.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits separate, sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan. All the right looks to take your style to the next level. Also, save an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon, or extra 15% off with any other method of payment. Hurry in. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Pricing and coupon valid 9/13 and 9/23. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Some exclusions and restrictions apply. See store jcp.com for coupon and details.
We have some big football games this weekend. One of the biggest is the AFC Championship rematch between the New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars. In advance of that big game, media happened and people were asking questions, and someone asked Jalen Ramsey about his approach to the game of football, and here's his answer.
He good now. We ain't gonna get it twisted. He's good, but you saying this to me, is it supposed to bring fear to me or something? Like, all right then, I don't fear no man. Period. And my brother, my dad, my mom, grandma was out there. It's on. After the game, we can be cool. It doesn't matter. That's how I feel like you gotta respect the game of football. Football is not a game meant to be played, being nice to each other and all that, like kumbaya. But after the game's over with, that's cool.
You wouldn't really hit your grandma.
No, I definitely would. She know that. My grandma know that. I love you, but she know that.
Would she hit you back?
Would she hit me back? Grandma might not get up from one of my legs.
Such an infectious personality. So fun to listen to and to watch play. One of the best cornerbacks in the game, but one of the most interesting players off the field as well. There's a lot to unpack there, Jalen Rose. But first, Jalen Ramsey's been in the news a lot preseason and this season. Some great stuff was written about him by one by our colleagues, Mina Kimes. What do you think about how he's handling his media persona?
He's staying true to his personality and his identity. You could tell quickly if somebody's behavior is forced or it's organic. You could clearly tell that he understands that not only am I an all-pro performer who has a chance to be on a contending team, I'm going to talk trash and I'm going to back it up. I'm going to put the bullseye on myself. So in week 1, I know that you guys are going to talk to me about Odell Beckham. In week 2, I know you guys are going to talk to me about Gronk. But he's playing the media, and it's smart.
What do you mean?
Because guess what he did after the game, regardless of what he said about Eli and what happened in the game? They won. Him and Odell were on the field exchanging jerseys.
Yep.
No harm, no foul. Like he said, I'll hit my grandma. But when the game ends, it ends. He probably ain't going to even be guarding Gronk. Gronk a tight end.
Yeah.
He'll get matched up on him, but it's not like he's going to follow him around the field. But again, he has us talking about him. And so what I thought about, for national media consumption, here's what happens with the NFL. The only teams that we're going to talk about consistently are the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Giants, the Green Bay Packers, and the Patriots. We're going to talk about those teams, period.
No matter what year, no matter what their record is, that's just the way it goes.
They're on rinse and repeat.
I know how this business is.
Bring you guys in. Let me give y'all some games.
Play the hits.
The other thing we're going to talk about is the quarterback position, because it's considered the most prestigious.
It is.
And so we're going to talk about what happens with Rodgers, what happens with Brady,
how much time we spend talking about Nathan Peterman.
And then we're going to talk about even the bad quarterback
situation. How much time
situation.
do we spend talking about Nathan Peterman in this business?
And the only other thing we're going to talk about after that is loud, and flashy skilled players.
Let me take you behind the curtain, Jalen Rose, as a media member. Because here's the thing, is you get buckets in the NBA. But what we need to get, quotes. You know who's going to give you a quote? Jalen Ramsey. So after the game, you know who you go walk to? You know whose face you put the microphone in? Jalen Ramsey. Because you know he's going to say something interesting. And that works for him as well. It's mutually beneficial. Because you know what's going to happen? He's going to get more endorsements. And he's going to get a Nike deal. And he's going to be in commercials. Why? Because he's got a good personality. And he gives the quotes and we show his face on the television.
And also, here's an extra shot for everybody, not just for you. Who are the top 3 defensive backs in the league?
Marcus Peters and Jalen Ramsey. And in third, I'm probably going to go, who should I go here? I don't know.
That's my point exactly. What did Marcus Peters do when he got a pick 6 last week?
He jumped
skydived into the end zone, a la Marshawn Lynch, and we showed that. Okay? Richard Sherman is a terrific player. Really well-read, been on our show, really educated, terrific football player. But he also lets you know it. Mm-hmm. And so those are the guys that we just so happen to talk about.
Of course.
Odell Beckham is a great receiver. But A.J. Green scored 3 touchdowns in last night's game.
But he doesn't have Odell Beckham's personality. He doesn't have the blonde hair. He doesn't have the flair. He's not putting himself out there. He's not with the Kardashians. And so people don't talk about A.J. Green the same way they talk about Odell Beckham.
And he's in Cincinnati and one's in New York.
Yep, same thing with
Julio
Julio
also
Jones.
plays as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Jalen has understood, and that's what he's using to his benefit on a defense that is stout beyond just him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a solid defense in all 3 phases. So here's a question. Are all Jalen's loud?
Yes.
Are all Jalen's loud? Does it just come with it?
You saw Hurts getting that.
Are there any nerdy Jalen's out there? Are there any Jalen's get B's. They don't get A's.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
I understand.
Jalen's let you know they're in the room.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that game and some other matchups in the NFL. But right now I want to turn our attention to the National Basketball Association quickly. Now, we know the rosters of all the teams, except there's still some players floating out there. One player that has not signed is a gentleman by the name of Dwayne Wade. He said that if he plays, he's going to play for the Heat. Okay. Now the Heat can only offer him a veteran minimum, which is 2.4, or the mid-level taxpayer exception, which is $5.3 million. So he's not holding out, negotiating to get more money. He's either going to get 2.4 or 5.3, most likely the 5.3. Why hasn't he made his decision yet whether or not he's going to play?
2 words. Farewell tour.
Yes.
Okay. He's a 3-time champion, one of the greatest to do it, clearly a Hall of Famer. He left Miami, which I said on this program, and I said this to him, that I felt like it would be a mistake. You leave there, you messing with your chance to get a statue. Because it may be a long time before LeBron James' number is hanging in Miami because he left the Mafia. And Pat Riley does not like that at all. So for D. Wade, he got a bigger offer from Denver, chose to go home to Chicago. He was throwing out the first pitch. It seemed like it was all good. Then a week ago happened.
Yep.
And before you know it, he wasn't in Chicago no more. He was in Cleveland. And what were we saying? He and LeBron are going to lead them to the finals. And what ends up happening? They trade 6 players.
Trade everybody.
Okay. They add 5 in 3 or 4 different deals. And he wasn't a part of the finals.
Kobe called LeBron and was like, we're going to trade Dwayne. Do you mind? He was like, I'm good with that.
Correct.
I'm fine.
And so now that he's back in Miami, where he deserves all of the accolades that he's going to get this year, it should be about celebrating the legacy of his great career as a member of the Miami Heat. Be a reserve. When the game's out of hand, you play limited minutes. You play around 20 to 24 minutes, in particular the second quarter and the fourth quarter to close out games, kind of like he did against Philly in the playoffs.
So here's a question. Does he come back because he wants the farewell tour? Does he want this let's stop the game and the standing ovation at the end and all of that? See, like Manu announces retirement in the offseason and he's not going to get the farewell tour. Does Dwayne Wade come back because he wants the farewell tour?
No, we see this in baseball right now from a pitcher with the Mets coming back from an injury. And so what ends up happening for anybody that's seen Paid in Full, it's like, Mitch, I love the game. That's why you come back, because you love the game. And a lot of people can't determine when it's over. Like, I couldn't determine when it was over. Like, you think I knew when I went to Phoenix I was going to get DNPs? I wouldn't have gone there.
Retired. You still haven't
and I still haven't retired.
And just for the record, it's David Wright, and he's not a pitcher, but move on.
David Wright, exactly. So my point, though, for Dwayne Wade is he deserves a farewell tour. He's going to get a farewell tour, and you should come back and be adored for all of the great things that you've accomplished. Plus, get a chance to play the game you love, be a mentor in Miami, and play on the big stage.
Is he worth more than $5.3 million? Sure. But is $5.3 million something you should just, look over? No, that's $5.3 million. Why not? Moving on. Jimmy Butler was being hounded by TMZ. I've seen you on TMZ a few times, Jalen Rose. And let's just take a look at the interaction between him and the TMZ cameras, because there's something very important I need to point out. So there's Jimmy walking down the street. They're asking him about Iggy Azalea or something. He's not really answering the questions. But right there, you see it. You see it. Jimmy Butler, multimillionaire. You see him. He is a card-carrying member of what, Jalen Rose?
The Minivan Mafia.
The Minivan Mafia. Oh, I miss my minivan so much. I have so much respect for men and women that decide to be a part of the Minivan Mafia. I didn't decide to be a part of the Minivan Mafia. I had twins and I had to be a part of the Minivan Mafia. And once I was in for life. But I have so much respect for the men and women that say, you know what? I like space. I like cup holders. I like a comfortable ride. I like to ride high.
Belts.
I like to ride high when I drive down the street.
And a sliding door. Forget about that.
You don't even have to touch it, Jalen. You don't have to touch the sliding door. You just push the key button and it opens for you while you walk up. Shout out to everybody who's a part of the Minivan Mafia. Uh-oh. It's time for News and Message. A gentleman by the name of Paul Guadalupe Gonzalez. He lives in Los Angeles. He's online dating, swiping right, swiping left. He goes on 10 dates with women at nice restaurants. And he orders the menu. He orders all kinds of drinks, all kinds of food. And do you know what he does? Bounces before the check comes. Paul Guadalupe Gonzalez is now facing 10 counts of extortion, fraud, and petty theft against 10 women over the past 2 years. Jalen Rose, what is the appropriate punishment for the dine and dash dater?
Just find a way to pay for the meals that you dashed on.
That's it?
Yeah.
No jail time, no probation, no fine, nothing?
A little misdemeanor. Other than that, just find a way to pay for the meals. I don't think that in a country where we're continuing to jail people for what I consider a lot of petty crimes, this should be something that occupies space. Now, I am somebody, and I don't know what the statute of limitations is. I've done a lot of dine and dashes.
Really?
What?
My second date with my wife was a dine and dash.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't have enough money. I looked at her. She didn't have any money either. I was like, we're about to do this.
No, you looked at her like, we about to get married. If she was ride or die like that,
you know what I learned?
One,
you know what I learned that day? My wife, not that athletic, but very fast. Very fast. She was running down the 3rd Street Promenade.
But my whole thing is...
I want to apologize to the California Pizza Kitchen and the 3rd Street Promenade.
Yeah, I want to promise to a lot of different places. Yeah. Denny's, Bob Evans.
It's a lot of establishments we need
Brothers,
to apologize
Big Boys.
I want to apologize to all the cab drivers that have ran out on.
Downtown Detroit.
I should pull a cab over and just give them $50 just for karma. Jalen Rose, you won our fantasy league last year.
I'm pretty good.
You are also in a very expensive fantasy football league. We won't even talk about how much money you lose every year playing fantasy football. But all of this is, I know you very well, and I know that you really care about fantasy football. You do a lot of research, more research on fantasy football than you do for the topics of this program.
And I'm not the only person walking the face of the earth that cares about fantasy football and betting on NFL and see what's going to happen in projections.
Allegedly betting on NFL.
Well, anytime you play fantasy football,
you're basically gambling.
Okay.
So we have a new segment, Fantasy Fridays. Jalen Rose, there are some players in fantasy that make you so salty. And there are some players that are going to have a sweet week. So we broke them up into 2 categories, the salty and the sweet. Jalen, who's going to have a sweet week?
The first person that's going to have a sweet week, and I've came through the door... If you listen to this program, I've said it before. Patrick Mahomes.
My homies.
I remember
my homies.
We talked about tiers of NFL quarterbacks, and they had him like 27th or something. And I was like, y'all not paying attention to the weapons that KC has? Mm-hmm. Y'all saw him light it up in week 1, getting Tyreek Hill going.
Way he looked.
And he's going to light it up this week going against the Pittsburgh Pittsburgh Steelers.
If Tyrod Taylor can put up 2 touchdowns at the end of the game like that, Patrick Mahomes can do some work. So he's having a sweet week. Who else is going to have a sweet week?
You know, this one's a little personal.
Uh-oh.
Close to my heart.
Uh-oh.
Golden Tate. You know, the Lions were on national TV Monday night, and nobody looked good.
Did they win?
And the quarterback, Matthew Stafford, threw 4 interceptions. That's never a good thing. Against the Jets.
So what makes you think Golden Tate's going to have a sweet week, Jalen?
He's going to bounce back against the San Francisco 49ers. It's not because they don't have a pretty good defense. It's not because they don't have Richard Sherman. I think scheme-wise, the team is going to do a better job on focusing on getting him the football. And I would hope, since we hired a defensive coordinator to be our head coach in Matt Patricia, he has some level of familiarity with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's the quarterback of the other team, which should get us the ball in better field position more often.
Who else is going to have a sweet week, Mr. Rose?
He plays in Philly. Jay Ajayi. The last time I checked, Carson Wentz isn't playing.
Nope.
Alshon Jeffries isn't playing.
Nope.
And he had 2 touchdowns last weekend. And this weekend they're going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won the game and gave up 40 last week.
Good point.
I think he's going to be a guy that gets it going.
And again, we don't need to tell you to start Tom Brady. So, you know, these are players that are a little under the radar. Like, these are players that Jalen is picking to have a sweet week. And who's the last one you're picking to have a sweet week?
The last one I think is going to have a sweet week is Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
He started the first game versus the Patriots with a fumble.
Didn't look great.
He got injured last year after having
looked so good
6
before getting
amazing games last year. They catapulted so many people that probably make him one of the top 2 or 3 overall quarterbacks in fantasy football. And this week, they have the Titans. Mariota got injured last week. We don't know how that's going to affect him this week. I just think Deshaun Watson resembles more the player everybody fell in love with last year when he was healthy.
So let's get to the salty. What players are going to make you salty? And this first one I know is personal for you.
The first one is personal. Le'Veon Bell.
So tell him the story. You're in a league that costs a lot of money.
And we drafted the previous Friday as opposed to like the Wednesday before the game start. So therefore, I took him number 2.
So you took Le'Veon Bell. You have thousands of dollars on this league, and you took Le'Veon Bell, and he's holding out. Have you reached out to him? Have you texted him? Have you offered to pay some of his salary?
I'm gonna slide in his DMs in a minute.
Like, Le'Veon, you're costing me money. I want you to get yours, but you're costing me mine.
And then Connor's out there performing, putting up season highs in total yards. So Le'Veon Bell, whoever took him like I did, regardless of whether you took him 2nd or 10th, it's still a hole in your lineup.
Who else is going to make you salty if you're a fantasy owner?
David Johnson of
the
Cardinals. Another high draft pick. He got injured early last year, and the Cardinals, they looked terrible last week against
And you know who looks good? The Rams defense.
And they play against the Rams this week. I don't anticipate, with their quarterback issues between Bradford and Rosen, that he's going to be able to get going this week against those guys.
Who else is going to make you salty?
Going to you, Dallas. And you might see Dez Bryant tweeting about this. Dak Prescott. The offensive line isn't the same.
He looked bad.
People are wondering if Jerry put him in the sunken place as it relates to the anthem controversy. He's a free agent. They only ran Ezekiel 15 times last week. They don't truly have a number 1 receiver, and they playing at Carolina.
They didn't get into opponent's territory in the entire first half of the game. They just looked bad, and Dak looked out of sorts. He didn't look like he was in control of the game the way he was last week.
And game 1 was against the Panthers. Stout defense. Game 2, Division 4. New York Football Giants, who are already, through Landon Collins, daring him to beat him.
Yep.
And he came back with the retort. They'll get their wish. Well, if he throws 40 times and Zeke is not running the ball 25 times, that is not a recipe for the Dallas Cowboys to win a football game.
Who else is going to make you salty?
Well, first, Aaron Rodgers, because he ain't playing.
I'm
going to just put this out there. Aaron Rodgers is not playing. But I'm going to say Fitzmagic will be dead week 2.
Wait, what? What? My guy?
Yeah.
My guy?
No.
The beard? Harvard Crimson?
It was all good just a week ago.
So you're going to go on wax and say the Fitzmagic is over. It's just a 1-week fling?
I'm not saying that he's not going to continue to perform well. I'm saying this week they play against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Good defense.
They're a really good defense, and we saw how they were able to win on that side of the football in their first game. So I don't anticipate that changing this week.
Well, we'll check in on Monday to see how all this shake out. But if you've got a fantasy team and you're thinking about you owning some of these players, remember who's going to make you salty.
Aaron Rodgers is not
have
playing.
A sweet week.
Nope.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough. But getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
If you want to discuss the topic, you say hit the brakes. If you don't, me, you, and Method Man will keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Let's get it.
One officer that was involved in the controversial arrest of NBA player Sterling Brown has been fired. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Just now being fired, keep it moving.
Okay.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Justice.
Dirk Nowitzki says he has no problem coming off the bench. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Of course he don't. They're not going to the playoffs. And he's clearly probably going to play his last year. Keep it moving.
Okay.
Jalen
Shout
been
to Dirk.
moving up.
Keep
Jacoby
getting them
moving.
checks.
You
Love
know
Dirk.
we keep it moving up.
We have an update on the status of Gordon Hayward.
Hit the brakes.
Okay. Gordon Hayward
That's one of
says
my guys.
that he is, quote, I would say I'm basically 100%. There's rumors he's playing 5-on-5. There you see him working out, looking good. Kyrie Irving back, Gordon Hayward back, young core. Are the Celtics your pick to go to the NBA Finals out of the East?
Absolutely, and that's not surprising. A lot of people are going to feel the exact same way. They have so many talented players, and for them to make it to the conference finals basically without their starting backcourt and Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward just means they should be ready to take a quantum leap as it relates to not only winning the East, but being a legitimate finals foe for the Golden State Warriors, who I anticipate they're going to play.
Well, when we watch basketball together, which we do a lot, you always say, that's my guy. And one of your guys is Gordon Hayward. Like you've said it for years now. You're like, that's my guy. Why is Gordon Hayward one of your guys?
He's complete. I got a chance to cover him in college. For those that don't know, Brad Stevens actually coached him at Butler.
Mm-hmm.
They went to back-to-back Final Fours. And so what I appreciate about his game, he could drive to the basket and finish at the hoop. He has a mid-range game. He can shoot the three. He can play in the half court. He can play in transition. He has some defensive tenacity. He really gets after it. He's more athletic than people give him credit for. So, like, all of those things had me sit back watching, like, he got game.
You got game.
People sleeping on him. So that's why when he became basically a 20-point scorer in Utah and they weren't able to keep him, though Donovan Mitchell came in and did a terrific job, I knew that was going to be a major loss.
Next, D'Angelo Hall said Paris Hilton saved him $15,000. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
D'Angelo Hall, that's my man, 50 grand, but Paris Hilton.
We're not going to discuss her in this
We
program.
keep it moving. We keep it moving.
The New Jersey Division of Gambling Enforcement released their data about how much was gambled in the month of August.
Not
Keep it
only we going to
moving.
hit the brakes, I need the bat for this one.
Okay, we're going to hit the brakes. In New Jersey said that in New Jersey, a total of $9.5 million was gambled, and they made a revenue of $9.81 million. And remember, this is just the month of August before the NFL and the NBA season start. What do you expect to be those numbers for the months of September and October?
Double in September, so I'm saying 20. In October, basically through the Super Bowl, that 9 number will get up to like 35 million.
Wow.
Like, people are enthusiastic about sports, and betting allows the casual fan to draw interest.
And 9 is just the profit. It's actually 95.6 money was risked. And that is just in August. That's a lot of money. Have you started gambling on sports now that it's legal?
I have not, will
Me
not,
neither.
other than fantasy football.
Me neither. Moving on. Osaka is about to sign the richest deal in women's tennis. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Okay. Naomi Osaka is about to sign an endorsement deal with Adidas that will pay her $8.5 million a year, more than Serena's Nike deal. This is going to make it the biggest endorsement deal in women's tennis. My question for you is this. Could the Serena scandal have made her a household name and made her more of an endorsement person?
Of course. It it's an indirect consequence. You have the greatest women's player, probably one of the greatest athletes of all time, have a controversial ending on a big time stage. And before you know it, and this is why I hit the brakes, she gets overlooked.
Yep.
Until Serena tells the crowd, can y'all actually stop booing? She did kind of beat me.
And every single person that watched that moment, and I was sitting there watching it too, just their heart went out to her and you feel for her. And it did make her a household name because it was such an emotional moment. And obviously I think if she could have her way, it would have played out differently for her. She obviously didn't enjoy it, but this indirect benefit of it made her a household name.
And also it's one of those things that there's nothing she could have done. What else? It's one thing for her to allow Serena to continue her disagreement and just stand there. But what's she going to do? Push her out of the way? Tell her to be quiet?
She had no active
That's her
role.
idol.
She had no active role in it. It happened to her, not with her.
Correct.
But she's getting paid.
But I love
Shout to her.
The emotion and the embrace that she had with her mom after the match. Those are the type of moments that make me love sports.
Some students in South Korea had some very interesting tactics to avoid military service. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Definitely hit the brake.
Okay.
I come from an era where ROTC was in high school.
So in South Korea, these students binge ate pizzas and burgers and drank protein shakes so they would gain weight so they would seem not fit for military service. Soft move or boss move?
Boss move.
Okay.
That's exactly what I did when I retired from the league. So I wouldn't get drafted.
You're the best. I remember Fat Jalen. I'm so glad that you're back.
Kangaroo.
Fat Jalen didn't look healthy. Nope. We look back at all the things that we learned this week.
You must learn.
And we just summarize all of the lessons that we learned. Because we learned a lot this week. One thing that we learned is umpires need to chill.
Yes.
Y'all need to chill.
For real.
Not only was there the thing on Saturday, which we all know about, the Serena controversy, but then there's this. The umpires union gets together and they're saying that they're not respected and they might strike and that they're coming out with statements saying that they need to be supported when they make an unpopular call. Do you know what y'all need to do?
Sit down.
Be humble. Just chill. This is going to blow over just like everything else. This is going to blow over umpires. No one's going to talk about you anymore. You can get back to sitting up in your chair and wearing your polos and saying,
And it's okay for a sister to yell at you and get away with it.
40.
It's fine.
Love.
Don't quit
William.
your job.
30,
don't kick and scream.
15.
Don't
Sharapova. Out.
It happened. She called you a thief.
Game. Djokovic.
Keep it moving.
Another thing we learned, Kirk Heinrich took his phone off vibrate. Let me explain. Tom Thibodeau is only making roster moves from people that are in his contacts in his phone. They picked up Taj Gibson, Jimmy Butler, they picked up Derrick Rose, and look at these other guys all just waiting for a phone call. Joakim Noah's like, you got to trade for me or something. Brian Scalabrine started working out. He's into the gym. Brian Scalabrine's on the treadmill right now. Like, they could call.
Joakim Noah's probably on the farm with
Don Nelson. Yeah, he's on that Nelly Kush
living
right
his
now.
best life.
Definitely.
But I'm a former member of the Bulls. Holla at your boy Tibbs. I ain't retired.
You didn't play for Tibbs though. Do you know who did play for Tibbs? David Jacoby.
True story.
Harvard basketball camp, probably about 30 years ago. Tibbs hit me up. He only picks up people that used to play for him. He was my coach. Moving on. Another thing we learned this week. Seagulls are protected by federal law. Now allow me to explain. There was a gentleman on the beach in New Hampshire. He was enjoying himself, getting some sun. He was out there for a few hours. He got a little hungry. So what he do? He went to the stand. He ordered a burger and he ordered his fries. How do you order the fries, Jalen?
Crispy.
Well done. The only way that Jalen orders fries. And he was enjoying the fries, and he left his burger to the side. And what happened? A seagull came and stole his cheeseburger. He then, allegedly, kicked the seagull. A bystander reported this act to the authorities. The police came, the actual police came, and gave him a $120 fine, $124 fine for kicking the seagull. Jalen Rose, is this just punishment?
This is not just punishment. My favorite seagull that stands 10 toes down is Beanie. Mm-hmm. Shout to Philly.
Of course.
But in this case, the seagull got to get it. And I know there are going to be a lot of animal activists. They're going to be upset with the
protesting
fact
outside the
that
studio next week.
a seagull took my fries, chumped off my burger that I spent my hard-earned money for when I'm at the beach. And then I shouldn't do nothing? I shouldn't say nothing? There was another human being that came and took a bite off of my sandwich. I would have said something.
I have a lot of questions about this. Okay, seagulls are protected by federal law, right? Mice aren't protected by federal law. Flies aren't protected by federal law. Where did you draw the line? Which animals are we allowed to harm and which animals are we not allowed to harm? I'm curious. And where do they make these decisions? And what judge woke up in the morning and went to work and had to make these distinctions about which birds and bugs are protected and which ones aren't?
And Colin Kaepernick took a stand and showed us there may be some other people not protected by law.
How could you make the seagull topic about Colin Kaepernick, Jalen Rose? The way that you did do this is just, it's amazing. You can derail any topic, Darrell Revis.
That wasn't derail, that was game. Blouses.
Another thing we learned, Stephon Diggs loves Starbucks. He loves Starbucks so much. Not only does he love to go order Starbucks, gets his lattes and his drinks, he has a Starbucks chain with emeralds and diamonds on it of the Starbucks logo, Jalen Rose. Soft move or boss move, Starbucks chain.
Planting a seed to create a harvest. We're going to look up and he's going to have a deal with them. That's what I truly believe. So stay tuned.
They're going to give him like a gift card.
And he got a new deal. It ain't like he just started getting paid.
So he wasn't the only professional athlete to get a ridiculous, insane chain. There was also Chris McCullough of the NBA. His nickname is Brisk. So he's got an iced tea can chain. This is just going too far, Jalen.
It's never going too far when you're spending your hard-earned money on things that you dreamed about having. However, I will say, unlike Stephon Diggs, my intel is correctly. He makes like $1 million before taxes.
Over $1 million, like 1.2 or something like that.
Okay, so that's after taxes.
He makes $1.9 million.
So after taxes and after you pay your agent,
that's
less than $1 million.
Yeah, that's okay. $100,000 chain.
And for those that haven't been paying attention, you pay insurance every step you take. Mm-hmm. That's a portion of your grip. So what I would say is he really's invested in that chain so much, like I was in the mansion, they probably spent 20% of his salary to get it.
There's no resale value for that chain either. You can sell the mansion to somebody else. No one else wants the iced tea can chain.
Nope. And there's going to be a jeweler like, hey, I'll just give you the diamonds. Well, he keep 50% of them and give you the rest.
Yep. This is Jalen Rose's favorite segment that we have. It's time for cultural or regional.
Let's go.
It's not either regional or cultural. This is universal. The first is what we do is we ask our fans and our listeners to give us some questions about things that are either cultural or regional, and then we answer them. Like this one. The first one we have is from Rob.
Shout out.
Rob Steven wants to know, ordering all restaurant food like steaks or hot wings or tempura lobster, etc., well done. Is that cultural or regional?
That's 1,000% well. Ordering things well done is cultural.
It's cultural.
Number one. Number two, which is also cultural when you go to a restaurant and you look like me, you never order exactly what's on the menu.
No, Jalen Rose.
We need to substitute.
Jalen Rose qualifies every single thing he orders, and you order everything well done. Every time you order fries, what do you say?
Well done, crispy.
Crispy. Every time you order bacon, crispy. Every time you order some fries, you get them. Hot wings, crispy. You send hot wings back to get fried more. I've seen you do this multiple times. You send steaks back. You send lobster back. You send everything back. You even before you even touch it, you just look at it and say, send it back. It needs to be more done.
Correct.
Some people get really upset about people getting well done steaks and things like that.
Well, what happens at a restaurant, they'll give you one of the worst ones because the chef, they don't really understand what a great steak is.
How come you can't just order something normally? Why do you always have to qualify it or add something to it or do something like that?
Because it's cultural.
I guess so. I don't understand it at all.
That's the point.
Sometimes I just order it just like it is written down. I just ask for it, and then they bring it to me, and I eat it.
That's the point. We never order exactly things how they're written on the menu.
I don't understand why.
And we want everything well done.
Okay. The only thing I order well done every single time is pizza. Everybody order well done pizza.
And then
It'll change your
extra
life.
sauce.
Next, we have a voicemail. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemails, and we'll play them on the show just like this one.
Yo, Jalen and Jacoby, this is Jonas. Yelling at the TV.
Yelling and/or screaming, cultural or regional?
Big shout to Norman for calling in.
Shout
Jalen
out.
Rose, yelling at the TV, is that cultural or regional?
Universal.
Universal. I think so too.
Because you got to take into account sports fans.
Always yelling at the TV.
Or people that watch sitcoms or movies or different things that you're watching, reality shows, things of that nature. So there are always times when people are watching TV and they get animated by things that they're seeing or people are saying.
I think it's universal as well. We don't add universal and medicinal as options in the segment title, but they are. Just know that they're also options. They're off-menu options. Just like you qualify everything with off-menu options are universal and medicinal.
There you go.
Moving on, we have a tweet from a gentleman by the name of Show Me the Movie, or a lady, who knows.
Shout out.
Jalen and Jacoby, those car decals with the members of your family or bumper stickers in general, cultural or regional?
Well, car decals are cultural, period.
I'll take this one. It's cultural.
No
it's
doubt
cultural.
about
And you know
it.
what else it is? Tacky and corny. Just because you have a bunch of kids doesn't. We know you have a bunch of kids. You're driving a minivan. Okay, you don't have to detail every one of your kids on the back. I hate those things. I don't understand it. You guess who's got a million kids? Me. I don't need to run around and show everybody with a bumper sticker. You know what I mean? It's all right. I get it. You've got 2 girls and a boy. I understand. You don't have to get the decals.
You know what you sound like?
What?
A guy that used to be the minivan mafia capo.
I am the capo
and then
of
you
the minivan
sold
mafia.
out.
I am the
moved
capo
to New
of the
York
minivan
City.
mafia.
You still have your bike, but now you ditched
You know what?
your minivan.
Here's the thing. Bumper stickers are a terrible idea 100% of the time. You know why? Can't remove them. You can't take them off. So you ever see that car with all the bumper stickers on it? They probably didn't even put the bumper stickers on it. That's probably a used car that they bought.
This is why you should send your kids to private school, because they don't give you a sticker. They give you a magnet.
Okay, Jalen, I'll send my kids to private school. You pay for it. I'll just forward the invoices to you. I got too many kids to consider private school, okay?
True.
I can't do that. Bumper stickers are the worst. Also, I ran a marathon. I don't need to put 26.2 on my bumper. True. I get it. You ran a marathon. You don't need a sticker to show everybody.
And
you got a bunch of kids. You don't need a sticker to show everybody.
You have 3 kids, fairly the same age. That's $100,000 a year.
I'm going to get you on wax saying you're going to send my kids to private school. I will do it tomorrow. They'll be wearing the uniform with the khakis and the whole thing. Next, we have another voicemail, cultural regional question.
What up, Jalen and Jacoby? Is this cultural or regional? Me and my lady just moved in together, and I was reaching into the refrigerator to grab some hot sauce, and my girl said, "Why do you have so many hot sauces? Can't you just use one?" I looked at her and I said, "What? What did you say?"
Having multiple bottles of hot sauce. We're talking 4 or 5 different hot sauces in the fridge. Is that cultural or regional?
Definitely cultural.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, I've got multi-hot sauces in my house.
But the thing about it is knowing which ones they are is the key. So for me, like, I've done a couple of posts and I had Red Hot in there representing the Midwest and represent from Detroit, and I had people screaming at me like, "Why do you have that?" But they don't understand it's like 4 or 5 more. That was just the one I was using at the time.
You know what I do? Now this is kind of ridiculous. Do you know what I do? I match my hot sauces to the foods. So if I'm eating Mexican food, Cholula. If I'm eating Caribbean food, Scotch bonnet pepper, Inner Beauty, the greatest hot sauce on the planet. And if I'm eating some, Southern fried chicken, Louisiana hot sauce. I match my hot sauce. What are you doing?
That's why this is cultural. We ain't doing all of that.
Nope. Why not?
That's way too much thought.
I coordinated. I'm coordinated.
No, that's way too much.
Oh, no. I definitely do that.
It's one thing.
I definitely do that.
I know people that go to the restaurant and like.
You're wrong.
I know people that go to the restaurant and be like, "Yo, white wine for this, red wine for that."
Yes.
I get that. But not hot sauce.
Oh, no. That's why I have different hot sauces. They all have different flavors that match the foods. No. You're crazy about this one.
Please hit me up and tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm right on this one.
I know.
If you're eating Caribbean food, if you're eating, rice and peas with some jerk chicken, you don't put Tabasco sauce on that. You don't put Red Hot on that. You have to get the Caribbean hot sauce to match the Caribbean foods. You don't do this. Am I alone in this? Am I the only person that does this?
That's why it's cultural. That's why the answer is just what I said, because I don't do that. You do. A lot of times people think it's in reverse. When I say cultural, it's a black thing. No. That's not what this means.
Fine, we know what
this
you mean with the car
reverse.
decals. With the car decals, we know who you're talking about.
Correct.
You say cultural.
This works in reverse.
Let me say this. Hot sauce. This gentleman who called keeps it in the fridge. Do you keep hot sauce in the fridge or in the cabinet?
So here's what I want to say. There's actually a distinction.
What's that?
I prefer it not in the refrigerator.
Really?
Personally.
I go fridge.
But what ends up happening when you don't put it in the refrigerator, it tends to get a little sloppy. Like after you use it, if you don't wipe it off good, it gets a
we
little
all know that
crunchy.
Crunchy at the top when you unscrew it and some flakes fall off.
No question.
Question for you. I just want everyone to know this. Jalen Rose has a custom bottle of mayonnaise at his desk. And he keeps it right there at his desk and does not refrigerate it.
It's actually right here.
Do you know how disgusting that is and how dangerous that is?
Please tell me.
I'm just glad that you're still here because you were eating mayonnaise that was sitting out in the open for a month. I'm so glad you're still here.
I don't prefer my hot sauce refrigerated. I don't prefer my mayo cold. I don't prefer my Aunt Jemima refrigerated as well. You know what Aunt Jemima is?
Yes, of course I know who Aunt Jemima is. We have one more really quickly. We have a tweet.
Okay.
Cultural, regional, or universal cooking bacon in the oven. Very quickly.
That's regional.
That's universal.
That's regional.
That's universal.
That's regional.
Bacon in the oven.
That's regional.
Not bad.
I've never done it.
My wife does it. I don't.
Never done.
I go pan bacon. I go pan every single time. I do pan every single time. I've never put it in the oven, but my wife will do it. Okay, we have issues here on Jalen and Jacoby. We have problems. We have serious problems here on Jalen and Jacoby. We did a segment about hot sauce, a cultural, regional. You know, a caller just had an innocent question about having multiple hot sauces or not. I thought it was completely normal to have multiple hot sauces and match them to the foods that you have. The control room in Los Angeles is all blowing up on fire. We got JC and Kayla here in the control room in New York. They're in the conversation as well. And here's one of the main points of contention. Okay? Keeping it in the fridge versus outside of the fridge. I go fridge all day, every day. Every day, fridge. The fridge keeps things, it's a perishable good.
We disagree there.
It's a perishable good.
To me, if you put hot sauce in the refrigerator, it takes away from the actual sting of the hot sauce. It's not as potent.
That makes no sense, Mr. Rose.
It does.
It takes away from the sting. Wait,
it's not as potent.
Okay, Jalen. Let me explain something to you, sir. Let me explain something to you. When it's called hot sauce, they're not talking about the temperature when it's called hot sauce. They're talking about the spice. I don't know if you know this, that hot sauce doesn't have to be hot temperature-wise. It's hot spicy. Because if you put it in the fridge, it remains just as spicy. It's just not old.
When you take something out of the refrigerator.
Yes.
It's a little bit chill.
Yes.
It's a little bit
I agree
cold.
with you. We're on the same page here.
Okay. When I pour my hot sauce on my lemon pepper wings.
Okay.
When I've just taken them out of the oven, I do not want that liquid to be cold.
No. So you're saying that 2 drops of hot sauce on a wing is going to make the wing cold?
Yep.
That's where you're going here? That's your angle?
Yep.
I'm saying that when you do not refrigerate it, it still seems to have more of a sting to it.
Okay, now here's another question I have for you. Do you think that Cholula has the same flavor as Red Hot?
No.
Okay, so they have different flavors. The same way that a bologna sandwich has a different flavor than a roast beef sandwich, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've just established that different hot sauces are actually different foods. That is why I have multiple hot sauces in my fridge.
Okay.
So I can use them on different foods.
Okay.
Because they're different flavors.
Okay.
Why are you using one universal hot sauce?
Let me teach you why.
And I'm talking to you, Reggie. I'm not even talking to Jay.
Let me teach you why. I understand as a consumer that they're different. Okay. I understand the hot sauce, if I'm at a restaurant that they're going to put on my wings, is probably different than the one they're going to put on my burrito.
Yes.
But when I go to the supermarket, guess what I'm not doing? Buying 4 or 5 different hot sauces.
Guess what you are doing? It wrong.
I'm buying one hot sauce. Now, when I go to a restaurant and I'm happy to eat Mexican food, I eat whatever hot sauce they bring with that.
Well, you don't have options at a restaurant.
Correct.
I would love it. I would love it. I would love nothing more than if I asked for hot sauce, they came out with like a hot sauce tray. And they had all of them, and they were just like, you could choose from this, sir.
So you go to the supermarket with your wife and your 3 kids, y'all pulling a basket, you picking out 5 different hot sauces?
I'm buying hot sauces online. What? I'm buying hot sauces online. I research hot sauces. I want to give a big shout to Inner Beauty hot sauce, which I just ordered this week, and they're on the way. I bought extra bottles to bring to the seaport just to spread the Inner Beauty love around to the great colleagues of mine here
and he's
at
not
ESPN
lying
in
because
New York.
Kayla said he gave her one too.
It's en route. Kayla's here. So I want to hear from Reggie what the control room is so upset about in Los Angeles, because we need to talk this out.
Shout out.
Thank you.
Okay, so the control room in Los Angeles, the control room in Los Angeles is saying the viscosity of hot sauce changes in the fridge, that it gets thicker. And I know you don't know the word viscosity. I barely know it,
but I know
learned
what the
it a
word
long time
thicker
ago.
means.
Yes, it gets thicker. So like molasses, very viscous. Water, not viscous.
Correct.
So that might be fair. It might be fair. The viscosity does change in the fridge. However, it doesn't get old. You don't have to worry about does hot sauce get old?
Everything gets old.
Does hot sauce get old?
What are you saying?
I'm just saying, like,
that's like you asking me, does milk expire? Of course it does.
Some foods don't get, everything gets old. Everything gets old. I was trying to think of
y'all recording this?
Canned goods.
Is he speaking into a microphone right now?
Canned goods get old. So Harlan, our television producer Harlan, says he has 10 hot sauces. I'm with Harlan on this one. This might be cultural. I think overthinking your hot sauce is cultural.
Thank you. Who walks into a supermarket and comes out with 10 hot sauces?
Intelligent people.
Come on, man.
Brilliant geniuses.
Stop it.
Gods of earth.
Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, look, they don't taste the same.
No, you guys.
They don't taste the same.
You guys act like.
Wait till you try this Inner Beauty. Wait till you try it.
Your home.
Wait till you try it.
Your home.
Wait till you try it. Wait till you try it. I'm gonna keep it.
Your home ain't a restaurant. Your home ain't a restaurant. No. You don't sit down at the table and have 10 different hot sauces and pick, like you know they're wines at a restaurant.
I have the one hot sauce that I want every single time. That's what I have in my home.
So what's your all-purpose hot sauce?
All-purpose hot sauce, Louisiana.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Okay, so that's your go-to.
That's my go-to.
That's my point.
That's my go-to. My side piece, Inner Beauty.
Give me the point.
Inner Beauty.
Red
side
said he
piece,
like Red Rooster. I like
jump
Red
off side
hot.
piece. Inner Beauty, so good. I'm so excited to have it here. Everyone's going to be hooked on this stuff. It is so good. I'm telling you.
All right, I can't wait.
I want to thank everybody for calling in. I want to thank everybody for working on the show,
discussion,
for getting inside, for just creating this hot sauce debate. And we said that we were going to do shows Monday through Friday this week. We didn't. Nope. I think we're scheduled to do shows Monday through Friday next week, but who knows? But I do know one thing. We're
done.
Not done.
We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
They my little guys. I love them.
Speaking of the Hobbits, let's talk about LeBron James for a second.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits, separate sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan. All the right looks to take your style to the next level. Also, save an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon, or extra 15% off with any other method of payment. Hurry in. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Pricing and coupon valid 9/13 and 9/23. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Some exclusions and restrictions apply. See store at jcp.com for coupon and details.